So I really enjoyed our guest last week, William Ritter. He was very knowledgeable, very fun, super cool, and I really liked the message that he brought. And I also liked the message that was shared here Thursday night when All Souls Counseling Center led a presentation on how to be resilient. And I thought, what a wonderful connection and overlap from William's presentation on Wednesday to All Souls' presentation about being resilient, because William talked about community resilience and kind of learning from seeds. So I wanted to kind of review some of the things that William said last week and some of the things that were shared in the presentation by All Souls, just to give us a chance to hear them again for anyone who wasn't at either of those events, and give us a chance to kind of process them a little more, maybe talk about them a little more, and appreciate how they connect so we can take the extra next step to apply them to our lives so that we can grow in resilience both individually and as a church family together. So I've got a few quotes that William shared, and then I'll have a few quotes that Shauna is her name, who shared on Thursday night. So the first thing that William said was, "I'm not religiously educated, but I've spent a lot of time out in the woods and in the garden just listening to older people." So, my first question, what could someone learn doing that? What kind of education would you get spending time in the woods and the garden and listening to older people? What would you learn?
An experiential education.
Oh, an experiential education, because you would be interacting and doing. It wouldn't just be words, it would be hands-on. You'd be getting your hands dirty in a literal sense. Yes. Experiential, yeah.
A holistic education.
How so?
Well, I'm thinking older people kind of have a lot of knowledge from everything in their life which they can impart to people, and it then also trees and the natural world is kind of the world. So that's
That's a good point. Nick said it's a holistic education because you get to learn from someone who's had much more wider, broader experiences than you, and you can learn from creation itself, which has been around a long time.
I think if you get out into the woods or just get away, then it's quieter. You're able to listen, and if we're observant, we can certainly see God's hand in creation, which can be inspirational and really speak to us. So I think it gives us that opportunity to sort of clear our minds and listen and hear.
Yes. Well, when we're out in the woods, we can really listen. So ideally, get somewhere that doesn't have cell phone signal. Yes. You're not typical.
Older people have learned to, by observation, such as if the oak trees have a lot of acorns, you can expect a hard winter. Things like that, just from observation over the years.
Yeah.
And what are some other things?
If a caterpillar's all black.
Yeah, caterpillars are all black.
Well, what is that? So what does that mean if the caterpillar is all black?
It's gonna be a hard winter.
It's going to be a hard winter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Leaves sort of turned up, it's gonna rain.
Okay.
The cattle are all laying down, it's gonna rain.
Well, lovely. Yes, so the experiences that a person has been able to have over more years of life than you, they can teach you those things.
For every foggy morning in August, there'll be a snow in the winter.
Ooh, okay. Good. Write these down. Not good to it. Well, yes.
Just go to the woods with them, or the garden.
For us, having Shelby and Garrett, having both sets of grandparents, they spent loads of time, we never had a babysitter. They spent a lot of times out in the woods with Papa Joe and in the front yard with Mimi learning things, but they not only learned practical things, how to do something, and Papa would quiz them on the types of the trees. And with my parents, they learned a lot about old furniture, but they learned family history
Mm-hmm.
and the names of all the people that reared Joe. And
I tell
all
them every
the,
time we go through that building.
yeah,
I heard this before, I'm gonna tell you again.
yeah. So they
Yeah,
learned
right.
a lot of
Absolutely.
both good things
Absolutely.
about the family and practical things of how things would be done, or they would sit and break things with Sue. And so it was a time of family learning things together.
Yeah, you don't just learn what to plant or how to plant it or what kind of tree that is. You get classes in how to be a person, and you learn where you come from,
Right.
Which is a foundational lesson. Yeah.
And spending time with older people, maybe we should ask you to define older people.
It's anybody older than you are today. Is always the answer.
Spending time with my grandparents, so it was, we learned how to survive on what we had. It wasn't like run to ankles, and it wasn't, we didn't have a Walmart. You survived on what you had, and you were thankful for what you had.
Yeah, good life lessons on how to live in the world. Yeah, such a broad, good, rich education about being a person and learning a lot about God through creation, like Wayne said. And that reminded me of something else that William said. He said, I think some theologians said one time, if you contemplate nature, you will find God. And I'm a curious fellow, so I wanted to find out, like, who said that and where is it from? I couldn't find the exact quote, but I did find 4 that were close to it. So I'll read all 4, and you tell me which is your favorite. The first is from John Muir, the guy you see on all the bumper stickers who said the mountains are calling and I must go. Even though I wasn't talking about these mountains, he's talking about others. So John Muir said, nature is full of the goodness of God. Martin Luther, the famed reformer, Protestant reformer, said, God writes the gospel not only in the Bible, but also on the trees and in the flowers and clouds and stars. John Calvin, also Protestant reformer, starter of the Presbyterian Church, he said, wherever you cast your eyes, there is no spot in the universe wherein you cannot discern at least some sparks of God's glory. And then finally, St. Augustine, he said, some people, in order to discover God, read books, but there is a great book, the very appearance of created things. Look above you, look below you, note it, read it. God, whom you want to discover, never wrote that book with ink. Instead, he set before your eyes the things he had made. Can you ask for a louder voice than that? So, really lovely quotes. Any one of those jump out at you that you liked? I think they were all good. They were all good. Nature is full of the goodness of God. That's an easy one to remember. One of the Bible verses that William mentioned was the very first command to a human listed in the Bible was to till and keep the soil and protect it, William said. So that was a reference to the book of Genesis. In the second creation story that's included in Genesis, Genesis chapter 2, let me read Genesis 2, verses 8 and 15. It says, the Lord God had planted a garden in the east, in Eden, and there he put the man he had formed. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. So there you go, the first mission, the first job that a human receives from God that's listed in the Bible is to work the garden and take care of the garden. So in thinking about that very first kind of commandment, it does seem like over our history as humans, at least in the last like 200 years since the Industrial Revolution, that we have not been doing the best job of taking care of God's garden and remembering that first commandment. It does seem like too often people and companies just exploit the garden that God gave us for their own purposes and don't care what kind of mess that they make as a result. It reminds me when I first moved here, I was going to take the boys tubing on the French Broad River, and I told one of our church members, yeah, this weekend we're going to go tubing on the French Broad. And he goes, oh, you're getting in the French Broad? I would never get in the French Broad River. I went, what, really? Should we not? And he goes, oh, it's filthy. Oh, all the pollution. And so then, I wanted to be safe, and I kind of had to look up and find like a website that tested the cleanliness of our river, and was it a good day or a bad day? And it said, don't go tubing if you have open wounds, because and I thought, oh, that's so sad. Like, that's so sad that we let our beautiful river just get so polluted and junked up. Or seeing pictures of mountaintop removals in Appalachia. If you've ever seen pictures of what places that had mountaintops removed to get coal or fossil fuels from them, and how sad it looks and what it does to the drinking water of those communities, or just seeing trash in the grass. It just makes me sad for God's beautiful garden that was made and given to us to take care of it. It made me think, has anyone ever been to a landfill, and not like at the front where you just drop something off, but like really gone up the trash mountain? Have you ever gone up the trash mountain of a landfill? Yes? Yes? It's weird, right? It kind of blows your mind to see that much trash just in our area. You think, is this the world's landfill? No, it's just ours. It's a mountain of trash, and it has the weirdest smell. What does it smell like, anybody?
There's no smell. You get the bad.
Yeah. So I describe it as a sweet death smell. Because it smells like something is both dead, but there's like a rotting sweetness about it, and it's just weird. And you think, oh, God's garden, look how nasty it is. And it just kind of makes me sad that we would do that stuff. I mean, I know you gotta process trash somehow, but somehow it's easy to not know kind of what the results of our lifestyle is until we go and we see it, or we test the water, or we are on top of the landfill trash mountain, and you go, oh, okay, I've learned something. So I think we do need to be more aware of how our actions, our attitudes, our behaviors affects God's garden. And I think one good way to help us be more aware of our lifestyle and how we live is something that William said when he mentioned a prayer that he has used, bless the hands that prepared this food. And he said, it's a lot of hands when you think about it. So let's say you ordered like a hamburger or a chicken sandwich meal from a fast food restaurant, which you shouldn't. It's terribly unhealthy for you. You shouldn't do that. It's bad for your body. But let's say you did, and you wanted to bless the hands that prepared that food. What are some of the hands who prepared it? Let's see how many we can name. How many hands went into that number one value meal?
Kill the chicken.
The chicken raisers and who killed it?
And people who grew the corn that fed the chicken.
People who grew the corn that fed the chickens as chickens were raised and then were killed.
Bake the bread or the bun.
The ones who baked the bread?
What about the one that worked on the tractor for the farmer that did the corn that fed the chicken?
That's right. The farmer on the tractor who raised the wheat so that the bread could be made. Yeah.
Somebody had to collect the corn seeds and, wheat seeds from growing it and then harvesting the seeds and packaging it so that the farmer could plant them.
Yeah.
The factory that made the equipment,
Yes, yeah, giant equipment that processes all that stuff. And someone has to make that.
And the ketchup, and the mustard, and the mayonnaise, and the pickles.
That's right. So,
And the cheese,
yes, yes.
and the cows that produce that.
Idaho potatoes, which are a particular kind of potato that only particular people can grow that have a contract with McDonald's or Burger King or whatever.
Right. Yes, so a farmer had to oversee the growing of potatoes, and then someone had to pick them.
The lawyers who license those potatoes.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
You know, someone had to pick that tomato, and I love ketchup. I put ketchup on everything, and so someone had to be out in the hot sun and probably had a huge basket and just all day long was picking tomatoes just so I could squirt my ketchup out of a packet and throw that packet away so that it goes to the landfill's trash.
Don't forget cleaning out the chicken house.
Cleaning out the chicken coops. Oh man, that's a real job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The inspectors.
The inspectors, yes, because we want our food to be non-toxic and pathogen-free and not have like salmonella and not make us sick. So we want to make sure it's clean.
And the paper makers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yep.
I think, what we're talking about, the cattle, tomatoes, whatever we grow, it begins with the soil.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone to maintain that soil
Mm-hmm.
year after year in a good state, to nurture the soil, and give it nutrients, they would grow that. And to me, the soil is really the root of things.
Yeah.
It is life.
Uh-huh.
The soil is life. We look around out here, all this came out of the soil, you know? And so I think someone to maintain the property in a state that you can grow a crop on it, that it will be able to grow a crop from year to year.
Yeah, and the regular maintaining of that, like the
Yes.
work to maintain the soil and for it to grow, everything comes from somewhere. It doesn't just magically appear in your happy time.
And common sense to know that all we are and all we can come up with depends on some small fact that 6 inches topsoil and the fact that it rains.
Mhm.
Those two things.
Yeah, the quality of the soil, the weather for where the potatoes and tomatoes grow.
And in the flood that we just had has removed that topsoil
Mm-hmm.
and just devastated property that once grew crops, and it's gotta be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see that devastation, and it can't grow a crop now.
Yeah.
It can't grow something, so it's
Yeah.
important.
How about the bees?
The bees, that's right, if there's no pollinators, then things can't grow. And so the people who care for the bees. Mhm. And the workers who put that food into a bag and give it to you. Yeah, like those are hands that prepared it. They wrap it up for you. There was, at my former church, there was a single mom who worked at 2 different McDonald's. She had 2 part-time jobs. Sometimes it would be 3 McDonald's. And I knew she worked harder than I ever had and ever would. So it's those kind of people who are wrapping up our value meals and are handing over in the chain of hands that prepare the food that we get to enjoy. So it's that kind of awareness that is easy to lose in our society these days that's so, what's the word when, like everything's germ-free? Sanitized, yes, in our kind of sanitized, compartmentalized world. You know, all we know is we go to the store, we pay some money, we get a thing, and we don't think about the soil where it grew, and the farmer, and the picker who harvested, and that awareness, I think, is a great step in appreciating the gift of God's garden, and recognizing everything comes from somewhere. One thing William said last week, seeds are a tiny little thing that makes an incredible number of results. So he was helping us think about the literal seeds that sprouted and grew and make more seeds, which is exactly what we were talking about the previous week when we read the parable of the mustard seed. A tiny, tiny little thing that has incredible results. Not only can one tiny seed make a big plant, but that big plant can make more seeds, that can make more plants. So you never know, and that was the lesson from the parable of the mustard seed. You never know what the potential of something is that might not look impressive on its face, but the parable said the kingdom of God is like that. You never know what will grow and sprout and spread. William said we're always sowing seeds. Some are positive and helpful. Some are negative and hurtful. He mentioned Psalm 126, which says to sow good seeds of joy. So let me read Psalm 1, all of that short Psalm 126. Here's what it said. When the Lord brought back the captives to Zion, we were like men who dreamed. Our mouths were filled with laughter, our tongues with songs of joy. Then it was said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us, and we are filled with joy. Restore our fortunes, O Lord, like streams in the Negev desert. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. He who goes out weeping, carrying seed to sow, will return with songs of joy, carrying sheaves with him. So reading that, verses 4 through 6 reminded me of the first two Beatitudes in Matthew chapter 5, which say, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." So why do you think the psalmist used seed imagery here? What was he trying to communicate by this seed illustration? What was he talking about with this sowing seeds of tears and joy?
You have to be like patient to let something grow.
Yes, you have to be patient to let it grow. You can't just shout, like, hurry up, come on, flower, I told you. It's not gonna work. Mr. Ray?
The farmer, God has been wrong in the fact that it can't speak very clearly. There's so many things he has to know, or she has to know. And the simplest thing is an old grandfather clock that has that moon dial on it. And it just looked pretty, but would you believe that little moon dial will tell you as the moon goes up, you plant things that grow up. As the moon goes down, you plant things that grow down. You harvest it in reverse from that. If you don't do that right, it will not grow right.
Okay.
You have to know when to plant, when to harvest.
Okay.
The little grandfather clock will tell you that, the clock now.
Okay.
It's not just there to be pretty.
Okay. See, we're learning things tonight.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. In the Psalm, he said that people are sowing with their tears, but then they will reap like a harvest of joy, reap songs of joy. And this psalm is a celebration psalm after bad times, when they've gone through the biggest challenge ever, and they've gotten back home and things are okay again. And the psalmist is saying, we had been crying. We poured out a lot of tears, and it was hard, and we were sad, and it was a tough time. But those tears weren't for nothing. Like the heart that we put into it, like the other psalms, God hears us when we cry. And so the tears that fell were like seeds that have now sprout and budded and produced songs of joy. One thing I loved that William said, he said, when you die, you don't know what seeds of memory you have sown in others. And then he said, my garden is like a church. I see familiar faces of people who shared seeds with me, and reaching back through generations of those hands gives me hope. Even after the storm, bean seeds were poking up through the silt, a reminder that there are still seeds of hope planted. That was like my favorite thing that he said. It was love. Both of those sentences are lovely ideas. Did that resonate with any of you? The things that you plant in your garden, reminding you of other people, or the plants that keep growing give you hope?
As a matter of fact, it does, because I watch you all every Sunday and some Wednesday nights, and I brought heirloom seeds of flowers. Some are for forget-me-nots and so on, for you all to have for your Bible study. And you remind me of these beautiful flowers. Each person in this church is such a blessing. And I still, 2,200 miles away, am blessed so often by all of you. I watch you on Sunday, I know what you have on. and I know that of the good things that you're doing, showers and all. And so these seeds are for you all after Bible study. If you'll just get however many you want, they're yours.
That's
I want
perfect.
them all gone.
Well, good. That way, when they're planted here and they come up, everyone who sees them gets to be reminded of your love and our connection with you. And it's an ongoing gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my favorite part, because I never knew my grandmother Silver.
Mm.
There are seeds she planted in my father that have gotten to me.
Oh, wow. Well, that's perfect. Yeah, the seeds that have been passed down to you from her. That's perfect. That's perfect. How might it give hope? He said it gave him hope. How might it give hope?
If there is a next year to be planted.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
There was a last year, and there will be a next year. And the seeds will continue. The growth will continue. It's a lovely reminder that we are a part of a great chain that stretches back for generations. And we get to continue the planting and the sowing of seeds. Yeah. Something else that William said, all the things you do in your community are investments. The more diversified, the better. It's like having a multi-purpose tool and not just a hammer. And that reminded me of the old saying, if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail.
Sure.
So if that's the only tool you have and you see a problem, you say, I know just what to do here. That's all you can do. But if you have a big toolbox of lots of different tools, if you have all the sizes for your socket wrench, then you can accomplish a lot more than just whacking. So the more diversified the investments in our community, like a garden, the stronger it will be, the more tools that we will have. And that's why it was really interesting to hear William talk about what he called mutts, mutt seeds, like seeds that were kind of like a mutt, like a dog. And that it's the mutts who have different colors to show their genetic diversity, which also gives them genetic potential. Like some seeds do well in a drought, some do well in a monsoon, and it's the multicolored ones, he said, that are more nutritious. So the more diversity that you have in your seeds, then the stronger and the better your plants will come up. So he was applying that to stronger, better communities. How can we relate or apply that idea to communities?
All people are welcome.
All people should be welcome. Why?
Because we all need each other.
Yes. If everyone was only an electrician, then a community would have really good lights, but the paint might not look too great, and the plumbing might need some work. It's kind of like the body has many parts, and each part is important. And an eye shouldn't say to a hand, you're not important. It's kind of like that the more diversity we can include, the more our toolbox is full. As a community, if we just had a hammer in our toolbox, then we couldn't accomplish very much. But the more different kinds of people bring different resources and talents and abilities so that we can be that kind of resilient community who survives and who thrives. It's always kind of natural and tempting to hang out with the people that are most like you. And you see that in schools a lot. There'll be kind of cliques, this kind of kid clique, this kind of kid clique. But the strongest communities are like those mud seeds that William talked about, that can bring in different experiences and different backgrounds to help us be more resilient. Which is important to remember, especially since, I don't know, why is diversity often not preferred in community? It seems like that kind of different kind of seed sometimes is not preferred. Why would people or a group have that mindset?
I think some do that out of fear of the unknown, and someone they don't know or understand, and fear just kicks in, and you don't include them. It's the best way to take care of that fear, they think.
Yeah.
But I think fear could be a factor.
Yeah, I think so. Like, that thing looks different. That guy looks different. That seed looks different. It's got spots. It doesn't fit on the rest of my seeds. I don't want to see spots in it.
You might feel like my way is the best way,
Mhm.
and I don't need anything else, so why should I listen to what you might have to say, or what
Yeah.
somebody else might have to say
Yeah.
about anything?
Yeah.
You're comfortable in what you know.
Yeah, that temptation of arrogance and pride, thinking, well, I already know everything I need to know, and of course I'm right, because if I was wrong, then I would change my mind.
Yeah.
So therefore, I must be right, and I don't need to listen to anyone else. And I've got the best hammer ever, so I don't need any more tools.
Yeah.
That's all I need, it's a great hammer. Yeah. Something else that William said, he said, our seeds aren't just special because they're tasty, they're special because they're resilient. Seeds have a lot they can teach us how to build resilient communities. Resilient seeds don't just help you where you are, they help you where you're going. How so? How do they help you where you're going? Seeds.
If there were no seeds, we wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
So we've got to have seeds, and
Yeah.
there are 2 seed banks in the world, but they're not to be touched until there's some sort of emergency. But we hopefully will never have to touch those.
Yeah.
But because of, and like he said, there might be a time coming when we can't get a catalog and get seed. We cannot go to Lowe's or somewhere and go in the garden center. We're dependent upon the seeds that are saved.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, there are many people who grow a garden, who grow crops, with the intention of giving it away to others. And that is inspirational within itself. I think it shows love of the Lord in our life, and gives us a blessing of that person that I give those tomatoes to, or I give that corn to, and they enjoy it. It's a fulfillment, fulfilling in our life to do that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people do that just for that purpose.
Yeah.
Give it away.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great continuance.
Yes.
Like, it's not just for me today, it's for my friends and my family and my community, and I can share, and I can drop off a big box of yams or cucumbers or strawberries or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. if all the seeds suddenly like evaporated and disappeared, we wouldn't be eating anything next year, right? So the seeds, they help us with tasty food today, but they are also representative of help for us tomorrow.
I think he also mentioned, we're kind of looking at things from where we are. Let's say we needed to move to California. We might take our seeds, and I'm sure the early pioneers did this, they took their seeds from wherever they were
Yeah.
with them to
Yeah.
new places so
Yeah.
that they could eat and live wherever they
Yeah.
were going to.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of their like future planning. Like wherever we end up, we don't know what it's gonna be like, but we will need to eat when we get there.
Bring our seeds.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in Yellowstone after the last great fires they had, and of course, the first plant that comes up is called fireweed.
Oh.
And it's a bright reddish orange, and it's magnificent, and it always comes out of, it's like the phoenix rising from all the scorched earth, and it's just breathtaking, and you have hope and promise and faith and amazement and joy
Yeah.
and the desperation of the darkness of the burn spots just evaporates. And you almost, when you see the fireweed, it almost brings a giggle because it makes you so happy that something has come up.
That's lovely. Like out of the literal ashes, color and life.
Comes the fireweed.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great reminder that growth is still happening. Like the world, God's garden is still alive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's the resilience
Mm-hmm.
and the will to survive.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
There are also some cones that will not germinate until there's a fire.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
I'm not sure which species of tree it is.
Huh. That's fascinating. It's almost like that species knows that over the natural course of the world, fires happen. And when they do, it's ready. Fascinating. Well, as we think more about resilience, I wanted to talk about what Shauna from All Souls Counseling mentioned at their presentation on Thursday. She talked about resilience like a balancing scale. So I sketched out a crude balancing scale here. She said we all have one inside us. It can be in balance, so this one is pretty much in balance, or it can be out of balance. On one side is all of our positive experiences. On the other side is all of our negative experiences. So our scale can either be in balance or it can be out of balance, one way or the other. And she said resilience is our ability to tip the scale toward the positive, even though the negative stuff is still there. Like it's still there on the scale. Whatever happened to you in the past, you know, you don't have a time machine, that happened in the past. But our resilience is our ability to tip our scale toward the positive, even though the negative is still there. So let's think about what those positive things are that can help weigh down the positive side of the scale. Whether you were here for the presentation or not, what are some things that give good positive weight to your life, that bring you joy and positivity? What are some of them for you? Shout them out.
Church.
Church. Go to church. Church. Yep.
Meaningful relationships, whether they're family or friends or neighbors or.
Yeah, meaningful relationships, yeah.
Nature.
Nature, yeah.
I've been sitting here observing this precious little puppy,
Yep, yep.
and I took a couple pictures. But that is a blessing
Yeah.
that God gives especially you,
Mhm.
this wonderful little thing
Yeah,
that just brightens the day,
yes.
and,
She loves his church and she
Yeah.
loves to hear Stuart.
oh,
It
man.
started out that way.
Oh, man, you're raising her right, Jan.
She did go to sleep during the day. But this is a joy.
Yeah.
It's a blessing,
Oh, yeah,
and it's uplifting.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cute puppies for sure. And Halo, like when Jody brings
Yes.
Halo.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a cutie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other stuff, what adds to your joy side?
My cat.
Cat, yeah.
Lasagna.
Lasagna, yes, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And seeing your children develop.
Yeah,
Yes,
And hearing
yes,
that
absolutely.
things come back that,
Yeah.
words that you remember telling them when they were coming up, and all of a sudden you never remember.
yeah, yeah. And you might have given up that they were paying attention.
Yes.
Because you haven't seen any evidence, but you realized it was a seed you planted, and years later, it finally sprouted in your kids. Yeah, for sure.
Grandchildren.
Grandchildren, yes. Well,
Greasy beans.
greasy beans? Sure.
Wayne's shirt with the buffaloes on it that are buffalo plaid, which is ironic.
Okay, okay. Nick said Wayne's shirt brings him joy and positivity.
Because of the buffalo plaid buffaloes, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely choice. And I love that all of these responses are little things, they're big things, but everything makes a difference. Like every, little thing, a BB is small, but a million BBs is heavy. So every little thing makes a difference, whether it's fun shirt, a cute puppy, being outside, grandchildren, good relationships, focusing on that positive side. In the presentation, we talked about, yes, Ms. Mo.
I just wanted, not to want to be negative, but I see that scale and you talk about things that make us happy. But how many times have we caused someone else's scale to get out of balance by being rude to them,
Oh, yeah.
unfriendly,
Yeah.
pointing out their mistakes, and we're tearing people down, and
Yeah.
that's just wrong.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, that on any person's negative side of their scale might be things that have been said by others that tore them down, or that judged them or criticized them, even whether they were in the wrong or not, or at all. Those kind of smashing down just weigh people down on the negative side. And we can have an effect in that, because, probably all of us well know that it has an effect in us, for sure. Yeah.
Did some of you see the rainbow a few days ago?
Oh, yeah, here, yeah.
It's a double rainbow that lasted a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I went out on my porch and just looked at it. If that's not inspirational, there's something wrong with us.
Yeah, yeah.
But, it's just that, just made a day to see that beautiful rainbow that God put in that sky.
Yeah.
And I have a friend of mine that lives in Woodford. She sent me a picture of it, said, "You see this, look at this rainbow." So,
Yeah.
it's just inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had Amy Alexander send me pictures of the rainbow with the church.
Oh,
It was over the church.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And noticing that, not just that there are things of joy in the world, but us taking the time to notice it.
Yeah.
And to let it be placed on our scale
Yeah.
is how it makes a difference. And different people might have, they will have different stuff than us on one side or the other, depending on what's happened in their life in the past, what's going on in their life at the moment. The positive negative scale can be affected, like with a pandemic. I think that was a big hardship on everyone's negative side. Figuring out what to do, knowing people who got sick, worrying about those who passed away from it. The hurricane, if your house was washed away, if you knew someone who drowned, if you saw the devastation, like whether big or small, that makes a difference to just the things that are on the different sides people have. And also, some people might be prone naturally to leaning one way or the other. I think like Chuck Taft leans towards the positive side,
Yes.
maybe to an annoying extreme. My wife,
You know she's watching this.
I hope so. I hope so. My wife is kind of a worrier, a worrier and a warrior, who leans a little more towards the negative possibilities, whether they're there or not. So some people might lean one direction, and Shauna on Thursday said the more time we spend tipped one way, the more inclined we become in that direction, whether it's positive or negative. Kind of like our nervous system gets settled in that position, kind of stuck, whatever mode we set it to, negative or positive, whether it's peace and joy, anxiety and worry. So we should spend time helping our scale lean in that better direction. And I think it's something that God wants for us. John 10:10 says, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly, is what Jesus said. So more abundantly of that good life-giving stuff. And the more we practice it, the more we let it pull us toward that side, the more our nervous system will just kind of settle into that positivity and that joy. So do more of those life-giving things. Focus on them. Shauna said we can add more stuff to that positive side, like, when we go for hikes, or when we scratch a cute puppy. We can add more things on that side, and we can see what's already on our positive side and make it heavier, which was interesting. What might that mean? To see what's already on our positive side and make those things even weightier for us. What does that mean?
Kind of taking time to think about things in your life that are positive.
Yes.
And appreciate them, like, consciously.
Yeah, taking time to recognize and appreciate those things. Like the rainbow. You could have just driven by, but to stop and say, man, that is so neat. That is really pretty. How does that happen in the sky? That's amazing. And just stopping and letting that positive thing be more heavier in your life. Shauna said, like if there's a picture in your house, we walk by the pictures in our house, 100 times a day, and we kind of forget they're there. But she said, stop and look at it. If it's a picture of, your grandparents or your grandchildren or your parents or your kids, just stop and just look at it for a few seconds and go, oh man, that was a really good day when we went to that place. Just let it, that's like free joy that you don't have to pay for. It just kind of let it, oh yeah, it gives more weight to that positive side. And she said, at the end of the day, remind yourself of things that have gone well. And that's something that I've talked about in sermons. Like if you pray at the end of your day, think of 3 things that you can give thanks for. And when she was talking about that, it reminded me of the hymn, count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings. Like, that's good advice. It's not just a fun song to sing. It's good advice. Take time, maybe at the end of your day, to count and go, oh yeah, I got to see that rainbow. I got to hang out with good people. I got to eat lasagna. I saw that cute puppy. Count those blessings so that they don't just kind of disappear and fall off the scale, but help them to stick on that scale. And she said that we can kind of grease our scale a little bit so that it doesn't stay stuck in the negative, but that it can have some give. She said we can give our nervous system some positive or even neutral sensory input so that our nervous system feels settled and safe. That'll help us be able to swing into that positive direction more if our nervous system feels settled and safe. And she gave us some grounding exercises, which is a great word when you think about it, that grounding, we're trying to ground ourselves much like strong roots of a tree or good roots of a plant to ground ourselves. And she mentioned the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. She said, look around and notice 5 things that you see. She said, notice 5 things that you feel. Or 4 things that you feel. Then notice 3 things that you hear. Notice 2 things that you smell. And notice 1 thing that you taste. Anybody have any things they notice? Interesting, fun things? Taste of the peppermint.
I think Brian's laugh always cheers me up.
You heard Brian's laugh, yes?
The ice machine.
You heard the ice machine? That's right, the ever-present ice machine. I smelled a little faint hint of gasoline, because we had a little minor spill of a little gasoline there. Yeah, just do those. Or hey, did anybody see and notice this cool bulletin board that's been up there for months and how appropriate that has been for the last 2-3 weeks? I didn't notice it until last week when I was sitting and staring at it and went, look at that, that's great. Okay. So just do those things just to help ground you, and that'll give your scale, it's like greasing the scale, oiling it down so that it can swing to the positive. Can anybody guess what secular song I was thinking about in my head the whole time she was talking? If you can guess it, I'll sing it.
The lady did the.
The resiliency balancing. Tell me I was the only one who's thinking of this song.
Sunshine
Eye of the
Supernova?
Tiger.
Oh. That's great. I mean, that's my pump-up song every morning before I leave the house. Sure. So she's talking about this scale, and we need to accentuate the positive. Okay, right? Right?
Yes.
Am I the only person who loves Bing Crosby?
No.
Okay. So in the Bing Crosby song, if you haven't heard it, and he sings it with the Andrews sisters.
Yeah.
He says, you've got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, don't mess with Mr. In Between. And then the Andrews sisters jump in to illustrate his last remark, Jonah and the whale, Noah and the ark. What did they do just when everything looks so dark? And then Bing jumps back in. Man, they said we better accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, don't mess with Mr. In Between. So I had that song in my head the entire time.
Yeah.
But what's one thing that's incorrect in that song? There's one part of the song that was not correct.
You can't eliminate the negative?
You can't eliminate the negative. Yes.
Yes.
Because it's there. It's there. And that's why Shauna said resilience is both and. The negative will still be there. Whatever we've experienced in the past that was negative, it will be in our past. We can't eliminate it. But we can, we'll always have our baggage, but maybe we can label it and put it in better luggage that's easier to carry. And we can certainly give more weight to the positive side.
I thought of a word that may be appropriate, overcome the negative.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's there, but you
Yes.
overcome that with the
Yes.
positive.
Yes. To give more weight to the positive. Yes.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of that idea of, it's not like God takes everything negative out of our lives, but he comes with us in the negative things.
Yes.
Helps us get through them.
Yes. God helps us get through the valley of shadow. That doesn't mean we'll never go through the valley of shadow, but
Sure.
God walks along
Did you
with us.
rewrite that song and just sing it one Sunday morning?
You don't have to tempt me. You know that's easy.
You can hit 3 Andrews sisters.
Okay?
Oh, yeah, they are, 1, 2, 3.
I've always known like that first verse, but I looked it up, just because I wanted to hear it played again. And I didn't remember there was a second verse. So if you're curious, which I was, in the second verse, Bing says, "You've got to spread joy up to the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum, have faith, or pandemonium's liable to walk upon the scene."
That's very good.
That's good, right?
That's, yeah.
Very good, very good. So, take this with you. Think about your scale this week. Think about how you can grow into being a more resilient person. What helps you develop more resiliency? It's having all different kinds of things on that positive side. Diversify your positive side. Get more tools in your toolbox. Don't just treat everything like a hammer, but get more diversity in your toolbox, more things on that positive side, because I think that's what God dreams for us. Like in the Psalm, it said, when the Lord brought the captive to Zion, we were like men who dreamed. And I think that's what God's dream for our lives is, to have lives of abundance. And that abundance means all different kinds of great stuff on that positive side. So I want you to think about that, and when you see anything that makes you smile, give a pause and just look and appreciate it this week, so that you can accentuate the positive. Even though we can't eliminate the negative, we can definitely give more good weight to the positive side. And if you'll let the Holy Spirit help, it will help. So go in peace to love and serve the Lord, and grab lots of seeds before you leave.